accident, honestly. I just started doing flowers, and really when I started working at the W, I started working with I had a lot of people in my office that were getting married, and so they trusted me for some crazy reason, and I started doing one wedding here, and then before I knew it, I was starting a business.
Hi, I'm Colin Krieger. Welcome to this week's episode of the Good for Business podcast. My friend Angie Atkins from Florals on Fifth and Events off Fifth. Is that correct?
That's correct. And Angie's Catering and Floral Design.
That's it.
Yes.
Just three major businesses in town is all you have to handle, right?
Right.
Well, I'm going to show everybody my smart glasses that I won from Curtis Optometry here, and then I'm going to tell them, say, hey, Meta, take a picture.
I love them.
The future is here. So, it's been recording. Hey, Meta, stop recording. Hey, Meta, take a picture. See, just took a picture. Now I'm taking them off because it's too much pressure for me and I feel dorky wearing them. So, tell me your entire life story. Did you grow up here in Columbus? I don't really know anything about you other than your radiant beauty.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, I did grow up in Columbus. I went to high school here. I went to college. I graduated from the W. I moved to Florida for a while, but came back and have been here ever since.
And did you work at the W? Is that correct?
I did. I worked at the W. I retired from the W about 4 years ago.
And what was your gig at the W?
So my gig at the W was Director of Resources Management. So I was over procurement and property. I did all the floral design, event planning, the post office. I managed Plymouth Bluff Conference Center.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm forgetting a few things.
That's a lot under one umbrella.
Yeah.
Did you have any floral jobs before that, like out of college or anything?
No, I didn't.
So how'd you get into it? Just fell
Just by
backwards?
accident, honestly. I just started doing flowers, and really when I started working at the W, I started working with I had a lot of people in my office that were getting married, and so they trusted me for some crazy reason, and I started doing one wedding here, and then before I knew it, I was starting a business.
And when did you start venturing out outside of the W? Were you still there? Because
I was still there, yeah. It was always been kind of my side gig.
You did catering first or flowers first?
I started out mostly catering, and then I went into florals. So just really became a one-stop shop. You know, I could, do event planning, and I did flowers and catering and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, because, they all just kind of complement each other, yeah, and then all you're doing is referring it out to other people. And so,
right.
Would you, of the three things, now I know there's logistical stuff when you're talking to like a bride about planning something or the parents, but
right.
Is the management of flowers and stuff the most difficult? That's what I would imagine from a distance, because I've done food service, so it seems like, all right, I know the menu, here it is, I got to have help, but the flowers just seems like such a wild card to me.
Yeah, planting flowers for like an event is not hard. When I opened the floral shop, I had a lot of learning to do. I'd never had retail space before, so trying to pick the perfect gifts that, people want, that was a little hard for me. And then finally I just had the mindset, I'm just going to pick what I like, and, hopefully others will like it as well, because you can second guess yourself to death when you go to market, and market is so overwhelming. There's so many great vendors there, and you really have to focus on, a few areas to make sure you get what you want.
Well, and I imagine how challenging is it keeping up with flowers? Because I know restaurants, a lot of times the hardest restaurants are run as produce or bakery or stuff like that is because it's going bad in 1 or 2 days, and I know the flowers don't last forever.
No, they don't last forever, but when they come in, we do cut them, process them, put them in the cooler. They'll last a couple of weeks if you take good care of them and stuff. And, I just have to make sure I have a good variety of everything, because you don't know. You don't know when you come in one day. You might have a funeral. You may have someone walk in that wants a certain flower you don't have. So it's really kind of a guessing game sometimes to make sure you have exactly the right product.
How long does it take to get flowers in Mississippi?
They come, I have several different sources. There's one wholesaler, in Tupelo, Mississippi. There's one in Tuscaloosa. And then I also go straight to the farms in Miami. So it just depends on where I'm ordering from.
Okay. So you could get them in within a couple days?
Oh, yes.
So does that, I know that's inside baseball. So if if a big soccer tournament's come to town, Zachary stocks up on wings.
Right.
If like I know that this time of year is busy for real estate, and Valentine's Day is busy.
Right.
I hate to ask this, but if somebody prominent passes away, do you think, I need to order some more carnations and we're going to have a bunch of displays? I mean, you don't really know. Yeah.
You don't really know. You don't know how many orders are going to come in. I mean, sometimes the funeral homes will call me and give me a heads up that, hey, so-and-so just passed away, and I always try to make sure I have plenty of peace lilies. A lot of people, if they don't send real flowers, they want to send plants, dish gardens, that sort of thing. So I try to make sure I always have a good variety of plants on hand as well as flowers.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, how long have you been in business in flowers?
I've been doing flowers probably 25 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not really the new kid on the block, but
no, I'm the new kid as far as having a floral shop downtown Columbus.
Yeah,
but I'm
absolutely.
not new to flowers. No.
I got you. And when was the first wedding you did? You were doing it for friends and helping, or?
Yes, I did it for friends. I mean, I did a friend's graduation party, and I told her, I said, this is what I need you to get. And I got there that day, and my friend had nothing, and so I just went out in her yard and started cutting flowers, and going through her closets and pulling out linens, and she came back, like she left for the graduation party, and for graduation she came back and everything was done, and she's like, I don't know how you did this, and but she did have a lot of good flowers in her yard, and so I started cutting and just putting them in vases and just transformed her backyard. But that's what I love. Like, I love a good challenge. I mean, and that was a challenge.
Well, combining food service and flowers,
Yes.
is especially with weddings and things where
Yes.
they don't get to see the final product till the day before, or the day
Right.
of. And I'm sure there's some bridezillas and momzillas out there that are pretty picky.
There are. I try to work with my clients until I know exactly what they want. And like the week before, I try not to bother them. I roll in there. I have a great team. So it's not just me. People ask me, how do you do it? And I don't do it alone. My granddaughter Emma works with me in the floral shop. I have lots of staff that works with me, and catering, and I have designers. I have a couple of designers that are MSU students that come in, and they're actually taking floral classes, and they're wanting to get some hands-on experience, and they're very good. So I have a great team. I'm lucky to surround myself with really good people.
Yeah, well, I think people who don't think about it may see it from a distance think like you're just jamming a bunch of stuff in a pot. But I've been around, Ralph Knoll is an acclaimed designer who's been in magazines. He lives here in Columbus, and he's semi-retired for the last 20 years, but he still brings out the thunder every once in a while.
He does.
And so it's interesting to see how y'all look at it compared to other people who may go, I'm just going to shove some flower. Like some husbands will shove some flowers in a jar and take credit for it. So
there's a formula to designing for sure. Yes.
And so you did your first wedding while you were at the W, or were you younger than that?
Probably my first wedding was for some friends at the W. So I would say that's kind of where I was at community counseling before that, and I was over food service there, and I was in charge of a lot of events. So I did do some flowers for community counseling as well. So I think it just kind of evolved more once I started doing more events and stuff. And I've had some catastrophes too. I'm self-taught. People ask me, did you go to school for it? And no, I taught myself. There's a lot of mechanics to doing floral design. If you start with good mechanics, it's not that hard.
Now, as far as the catering and stuff, how far out do you go, like distance-wise, from Columbus?
I go to Alabama. I go to Tennessee. Florida.
You did one in Birmingham. You said the other day,
I did
right?
one in Birmingham not too long ago. So I travel. We'll take the craziness on the road if we have to. And
what are the biggest challenges that come up when you're serving food that far away? Oops, I forgot a fork.
Yeah, you don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere and not have your supplies. And again, it goes back to my team. We go through the menus. We go through the number of guests. We make sure we have all the supplies, seasoning, trays, serving pieces, whatever, when we roll into, especially out of town event, because we want to make sure we're prepared when we get there.
Yeah, I know a couple of people who are doing some of the high-end building stuff at Smith Lake, and I asked him how you got there, and he's like, you can't survive here if you don't have systems and if you forget stuff. Because he goes, you forget a screw here, it's 45 minutes or an hour.
Exactly.
So there's none of this Jake Leg stuff where, like, we start the job and we're like, oh, we forgot the putty, and you're like...
I have several friends that have houses at Smith Lake, and I know that to be the case. You've got to be prepared.
That's the worst feeling. That's why I tell her it's the worst feeling when you pull up to the house and you forgot the mayonnaise or the bourbon, and you're like, this weekend's ruined, because I don't want to drive an hour, depending on what part of the lake on. Of course, the east end of the lake now is getting really heavily developed, so there's going to be a lot of stuff there. And but if you're on the Crane Hill and the other parts, like, it's 30, 40 minutes unless you got that one gas station that's hooking you up. So,
absolutely.
what's the most remote wedding you've done, like as far as being far away from distance to Target or distance to Walmart?
I've done some like in Tampa. I went pretty far out, and I didn't know the area. I would say that was probably the most challenging, is to go to a state where you really don't know a lot of people and you don't know where to source everything from. That one was a little difficult, but most of the time I check out the area before I get there, and I know what's available in the event that we have an emergency or we need something.
So when you do the distance stuff, are you more just the planner, or are you doing the catering too?
Some of the distance stuff, it just depends on the venue. Some venues, don't allow you to do, food. They only allow you to do flowers. So it just depends on the venue, what they allow.
Yeah, I've heard some, and there's some in venues that are just all inclusive and don't want anybody else messing with them, which is, and I know that's happened to us. We saw that. It's been 21.5 years since I got married in New Orleans, but I remember talking to venues down there, and they were like, especially the ones that had been around 60, 70, 80 years, you had to do everything through them.
Right.
They didn't want any outside input whatsoever.
Yeah,
so.
And that's kind of, I think, that's a new trend that's kind of evolving with some of the larger venues now. They're wanting one person to do everything, and so hopefully I can do more exclusives with some different venues in the area.
Yeah, and you can understand their point of view that they don't want to talk. They're like, where's this person? Who left this pan here? Why did they
who left the oven
trash?
on? Or they want people they can trust. So most of the larger venues do have a preferred vendor list, and that's who they refer to. And if you're not on that list, they don't allow you to work there. So
and some of them I'm sure some of them are getting money back and stuff. Like they gave us a list about cakes, and I'm like, I called the cake guy, and I'm like, we've already got the oldest Italian restaurant in the southeastern United States. I'm like, they're making our cake for us. I was like, and he's like, well, it's exclusive to us. And I'm like, can I talk to the cake person themselves? So I called their cake guy. I was like, I know their cakes were like $800 to $1,800. I'm like, listen, I'm getting a $3,000 cake, but they're giving it to me because they're my friends. Wow. I was like, can I just hand you $500? And he's like, I don't understand. I'm like, you don't like, are you going to really make $500 on a $1,000 cake? He's like, well, it's none of your business. I'm like, can I just hand you $500 and I'll just bring you the fancy cake the day before? And he's like, oh, I don't have to do anything? I'm like, yeah. I was like, same difference. But like the person who ran the venue was like, you can't do that. And I'm like, what do you care if the cake guy is happy,
Right. Most of the venues around here, they're very easy to work with. I know when you go to some of the bigger cities, they'll give you 3 hours ahead of time to set up. And that's hard, especially if you're going to older buildings that don't really have an elevator and stuff like that, and you're having to carry everything up 3 flights of stairs. I will say that Mississippi, I get spoiled because I can get in the day before to most venues, and that's nice that you don't have to stress and do it all in a very time constraint.
Yeah, well, back to back. There's places I know in New York and New Orleans and Atlanta that'll have 5-6 weddings a day. Just crazy.
Yes,
and that's why a lot of them segment it. Whether in New Orleans, almost everybody gets married at church and reception. There's not a lot of everything in the same place thing. Whereas I noticed, at least with some of my younger friends here, a lot of them do everything in one place, at the barn or the place or whatever.
I think, I think the new trend is, I do see more brides in 2026 going to a church and then going, to a venue for the reception. So, I think maybe they're transitioning back to a church wedding.
Well, I think as you've got a whole crop of people whose parents are a little older, who had kids later in life, and the parents are going to be a little more church-oriented and want to at least put on a show that they're doing it. So
exactly, yes.
So how long have you had, which came first, events off Fifth? The catering you were doing on your own. So
the catering came first, and then this building came available. I was on 5th Street, where the Pilates studio is now, and I was there until the owner wanted to sell, and I was already starting to kind of outgrow it at that point. And so when the current building came available, I think it's about 10,000 square feet, give or take, and it was a big jump in rent and stuff like that. But I love the building. I fell in love with it, and I'm like, somehow I'll make this work. And so I've been in the current location, I think, almost 13 years. So it's like home to us. We love it there. So, but between me and my daughter, we have 3 buildings downtown Columbus. So we believe in Columbus.
Because she's Alley Cat's Boutique.
Yes.
She's right next to the Pilates studio.
Yes, she is.
Right there. And she's rocking and rolling there.
She is.
Got
she's doing great.
young women's clothing. Is that the best? Is it all women's clothing?
I think she has like a good variety for like younger girls, but also people my age can go in there and find stuff. So I think that's the key, to have a little bit of everything to appease to all the different, age groups.
Yeah, and I call that section from, Cafe on Main down to where your new shop is.
Yeah.
That's my classy alley is what I call it. It's not an alley, but I was like, oh, there's bride and groom, there's y'all, there's a couple of attorneys, like it's a little fancier, stepping up their game. So talk about how you got the Hollyhocks building and how long you've been there.
I'll be there only a year in June. We took over in June, and then we came in and did some painting and did some things. So June will be a year that we have been there. So
I apologize. My phone is making crazy noises. She's getting calls and stuff. So I think I dropped my phone in a sink this morning. Probably,
I know. So yeah, we love the Hollyhocks building. We did put a wall up so that we could design, and part of it, the back area, and then the front space is retail space. So I just heard about it one day. Barbara Bigelow mentioned the possibility that Glory might be closing, and I immediately gave her a call, and the rest is history. We signed a lease, and be there a year.
Good to hear. So what are y'all selling inside of there?
We sell all sorts of things. We have a lot of gifts. We have pillows. We have home decor. We have jewelry. We have pajamas. We have a good variety.
Pajamas in there?
We do. We have graduation gifts. So we're trying to be, a one-stop shop for a lot of different things. We have candles, have a really good candle line. We have mop soap, and we have a lot, and then we have flowers.
Well, because what you have been championed by several people. We're in a B&I group, Business Network International, that meets every Thursday at Events Off Fifth at 8 o'clock if you want to come visit us. By several men in the group that you're the best second place in the world you can go, because it's not the Kroger flowers that are wilted. You actually can put together something. I know you don't want everybody coming last minute, but I'd say 70 to 80% of men are getting last minute
and that's
gifts.
fun. We love those last minute people. I mean, we had 3 people walk in yesterday, and they were like, "Can I get a dozen roses?" And then one man came in, and it was his wife's. It was their anniversary, and so he picked out some really nice gifts. I mean, he knew what he wanted, and he came in, and we'll gift wrap and everything. So he was happy when he left. And there was a man that came in to buy a baby gift, which you don't see that a lot, but he came in and he bought a baby gift, and he wanted some flowers, and he was very particular about what he wanted. So he's a repeat customer too. So we try to treat all of our customers like family. I mean, we want them to be able to call us, and we'll throw something together last minute for them, gift wrap them, and have them out the door as quickly as we can. So
and how many square feet are in that building?
It's not as big. It's like 2,500, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood. So not huge, but when you start trying to fill it up with gifts and stuff, you can spend a lot of money in a short period of time on gifts, and I've found that out too. So
because every gift looks adorable, and you're going to have 5 of them because you have to have some of them in the back too,
absolutely.
Right?
And I'm not good at math, so when I went to market, I try to do some girl math, really fast in my head. And when I came back home, Emma was like, "How much did you buy?" Like, we just keep getting box after box, but it's good stuff. Fortunately, we've been able to sell it. We are going online. We're trying to do more online sales. We've had some people in Kentucky and different places, and we're trying to ramp up our social media, because that's the thing I think I'm lacking in a little bit, is I don't promote what I do. I mean, I do a lot of big events, but after the fact, I'm rolling into the next week, and I just really need to find a good social media person too to help me showcase what we do.
You need to grab one of those Mississippi State kids. I've been talking to a couple people over there about helping me, because I'm probably a little too hands-on with my stuff.
Well, you need to share their names with me, because
I need to find that. Yeah. Well, they have a couple programs over there for business, like you
marketing.
Can get an intern and stuff, but you do have to plan ahead, which it doesn't seem like either one of us are
good at.
Exceptional at that. So
yeah.
I've noticed when I'm at Events Off Fifth, you'll have a bit of a kitchen or work area in the back?
We do. We have not quite half the building, but a good portion of the building is storage because we have lots of stuff. We have lots of, a lot of my vases and urns are still in the back area that we don't have room for. The florals on Fifth. We have like a lot of serving pieces. We keep all of our supplies, our plates, cups, forks, napkins. We have a section for that. So, yeah, we do. And we have a commercial kitchen there. And we have big ovens and all that. So about not a little less than half the building is for storage and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many? So this is the season. I mean, is it starting right now? Pilgrimage through wedding season.
Yes.
You do a lot of pilgrimage stuff.
I do some pilgrimage stuff. This past weekend, we did the JA ball, we did the King's dinner, and then we did the brunch at Events Off Fifth. So
that's all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was great. It was great.
Well, a shout out to Whitney Ferguson for putting together. I mean, like I didn't get to go to the event because my wife had surgery on Friday, but like so man, the all the photos from the decor. Yes. So that's you, okay?
Yeah.
I was wondering. It looked pretty fancy. So
yes, Whitney did all the decor and stuff, and it was.
I saw
amazing.
Like she had everybody's kid's picture on their table. Yes. Had a kid there and like all that. Yes. So they're some of the her and her husband Scott are some of the most considerate people.
They are. But a shout out to Scott too, because there was an amazing tunnel that you walk through when you come in the front door of Trotter. And it was beautiful. And
I saw the video, and I was like, I thought it was at the Trotter was the first thing I thought.
It didn't look the same way. It was so totally different, and that was her vision. I applaud her because that is a big trend now, walking through a tunnel at events like that with, greenery and flowers. And Scott, he jumped in there and helped. I mean, I'm sure when he had to take it down Sunday morning, it was huge. He had a team to help him load out Sunday, which required that. But I told Scott, I said, it was a wow factor.
Well, that's the biggest compliment I can give somebody is when I'm like, is that your house or is that your place? I've had people who've sent me videos or pictures of a house after they bought it and fixed it up. And I'm like, and they've sent it to me. I'm like, what's that? And that's what I thought when I saw that next morning, kind of the hype video from the JA Ball. I'm like, where are they? Because they came out and then had a couple little stands. I'm like, what is?
It didn't look like the same place. It really didn't. She had a great vision and was very organized. I mean, I looked at the book that had all the florals in it, and it's, the women of JA worked very hard to put on that event. I mean, I'm a life member, and I know what goes on behind the scenes, and they put their heart and soul into it.
Well, unlike a lot of events, when I say there's no space for mistakes, like there's too many people in that room.
Yes.
I've only been like 3 times, but like there's no room. You forget an arrangement, you're not getting to that table to put it down. Like if you put you put the wrong kid's picture on the table, you literally can't get there. Right. Was it buffet or table service?
It was a buffet. It was downstairs, like everything was upstairs, but then they came downstairs. Typically they have a breakfast, but this year we did heavy appetizers, and we had like a huge charcuterie board, and we had heavier appetizers, and it seemed like it worked well. I mean, we're getting positive feedback, so hopefully it was.
Yeah, I'd always heard the breakfast thing, and people had. I was like, I don't understand why y'all have a breakfast thing. I can't complain about the pageantry and the big thing because I grew up in New Orleans, and I owned a tuxedo when I was 13. Like it was that was just part of life down there. Was going to different cotillions and balls and stuff like that. Like even if you weren't legacy old family stuff, you were still going to so much stuff.
Right. Y'all love parties.
Yeah, I'm not against them. And so, and shout out to the JA. I've said this, I became more familiar with the actual work that y'all do when Lindsay Clemens came in and really, I don't know about kick down some doors, but man, she did a lot of stuff. And seeing when y'all probably brag less about what y'all do in the community than any other group.
They probably do. I mean, they help a lot of children and a lot of families in this community, and I don't know that people really realize that, but they do. I know when I was in JA, we clothed children that needed uniforms, and that's a huge thing for parents that clothes are expensive, and to just give them the uniforms that they can wear to school, I think is such a blessing to them, and that's just one of the things, many things that they do.
Yeah, no, again, like I only knew it because Lindsay was there,
right?
And they're not. I mean, talk about not hyping stuff up. Like I wasn't really aware of most of they did until y'all built the park, the little playground, $70,000 playground. Until y'all did that, and then I was like, holy cow! Like they're doing a lot of stuff. And she kind of explained to me everything they were doing. I'm like, can you even hype it up? She's like, nah, it's good. So, and there's tons of people in town like that who are just quietly doing a lot of good here. So, and
you're one of them. I mean,
I'm trying. People will be like, well, you're loud about it. I'm usually taking pictures of other people, so people will call and thank me, like, thank you for doing that. I'm like, I just took a picture of JA doing that or something else, but I'm always I'm continually overwhelmed by how many generous people there are in this community.
Yeah.
And sometimes.
Well, especially not have grown up here,
Yeah.
I mean, to have moved here from New Orleans. I mean, you do a lot for our community, and I'm not just saying that. I mean, I applaud you for that, because that's what it takes. It takes all of us to make Columbus a better place. Sometimes Columbus gets a bad rap, and I think it's a great place to live.
I think our biggest challenge here, I've said it before on my show here, but we're the 13th largest city in Mississippi. We've got around the 13th or 14th crime rate consistently over 20 years. Like a good example is Starkville. Octobel County and Starkville last year had like 18 shootings and 11 murders, and we had like 18 shootings and 4 murders. Like we did way better here, but even though we're the 13th largest market and 13th crime rate, so we have the biggest weekly paper that focuses on crime and politics in the whole state. We have the third or fourth biggest daily station, the third or fourth biggest TV station. They're all in downtown. So anything happens in Columbus, it gets
it gets
people hear about it. So my wife and I, when we really decided to stay here, which was about 12 or 13 years ago when we moved downtown. Part of our thing was like, we're not going to wait. It wasn't like we were shunned, but like we didn't know everybody, and I'm like, I'm not going to wait to get invited to parties. We're going to intentionally try to help the place if we're staying.
Yes.
And it's worked out. Now I always think the funny thing when somebody will say like, "You're from here, right?" And I say I'm from here, except for little white ladies in big white houses. So like when the little old lady's like, "Oh, he's not from here," I'm like, but.
You've done amazing things for this community, and I hear your name everywhere I go. I hear Colin. So you do a lot.
We're hanging in there. I'm hoping my wife. This last year, she just had a surgery that wasn't supposed to be big and ended up being big, and she's had a whole bunch of back surgeries. But she was just kind of getting out and about. We were going to more events.
I saw her. Y'all came to the venue and stuff to get some flowers that day for the sports thing that you were doing.
Yeah. So we got that coming up in a few weeks too. So I'm way too relaxed for events. Now, again, a lot of stuff I'm doing is either, I call it reactionary fundraisers, like this guy got in a car wreck, so this happens. But like the sports thing is mostly men. So like the flowers aren't, they're not. And then the other part is like, I feel like for those kind of fundraisers, like you could tell me we're doing something at the Trotter this Saturday, there's going to be 300 people there. And I'll be like, you could tell me today, which is a Tuesday at 11 o'clock, and I'll be like, all right, well, we'll talk on Wednesday. I'll come up with something. Like, no, wouldn't sweat it. Wouldn't, really, other than the food, I'd be like, it's a piece of cake. We'll find
And that's
stuff.
the way I am, and I think that makes a lot of people nervous because I am so laid back. Like, I had all these events this weekend, I try to be very laid back. But if you plan them right, if you surround yourself with good people, there's no reason to stress about events, in my opinion.
Yeah, like 80 to 85% of the stuff is, unless it's a preference of who's running it or wants certain colors, is for me, like I'm calling Doug at Zachary's for this. I call Clark Beverage for a banner. I got Rob at Go Box is get us a dumpster or whatever. Like I've just got this list of people that I'm like tick 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 tick, and then we go, okay, what do we need to do now that I'm out of friends to bother? So how many weddings do you have on the books right now?
Oh, gosh, I haven't even counted them. I'm like 1 week out, like I focus on that week. I try not to get too far ahead of myself. But we are really booked. 2026 has really shaped up to be a great year for weddings. There's a lot of different trends going on now, but, we're very busy, so... This past weekend was, like I said, busy, but we've got a lot of weddings coming up in the spring and summer. Some people are not doing as much in July and August just because in Mississippi it's hot.
It's ridiculous. We got married. We're from New Orleans. We got married in October because we wanted it to be tolerable.
Yes.
I had a lot of friends get married in
good.
late June and July, and I was like, "You maniacs!"
Yeah.
And every venue in New Orleans then was pretty much outdoors. Like they had air conditioning, but not really.
Yeah. I love to see the New Orleans weddings, though.
They're pretty cool. We had a 5-hour reception.
Oh my goodness.
We had two different buffets. We had like a New Orleans seafood buffet and a traditional one. We had all the liquor in the world you could want. It was long.
Yeah.
So halfway through our reception, we were the first couple to get engaged, but my wife will gloriously tell you about our 3.5-year engagement. And then my other 4 friends got engaged, and they got married in the meantime. So we were like taking notes. We're like this, don't like this. And theirs were admittedly somewhat fancier.
Yeah.
But we had ours at a big park pavilion, and we were like, they ran out of food. We felt pressure for this. And then when you get right before you do the cake thing, some people are sneaking out because it's getting kind of boring even in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So halfway through ours, we had this guy. There's an Elvis impersonator from the Saints games named Randy Elvis.
Oh wow!
And so like we let it literally like a record scratch in the music, and you see this black and gold car doing like spinning out in the parking lot, burning rubber, and then he comes in and does like a 45-minute Elvis presentation, and then that just raised the whole thing up. And
yes.
we had another 2 hours before my wife and I went to McDonald's.
I need to do more weddings in New Orleans. That's my kind of party.
Well, my oldest daughter, she's not married or engaged or anything, but she definitely does not need to do that. And if Allison is listening, Angie promises to tell you've met Allison and Daria.
Yes,
the trend is going to small weddings and even eloping is the new trend.
Don't
Please.
listen to him, Allison. We're going to do it big.
No, she's not listening whatsoever. I tried to switch her top 10 Netflix to movies about eloping, but she caught on. She was like 16. I have 3 teenage daughters, so it's coming.
Bless your heart.
It's coming.
Bless your heart.
One of them could elope. I'd be very happy with that. But
just give them the money.
yeah, man, there's no money left. So we'll see. I've got some friends I'm 50, so I got some friends a little older than me who are already getting hit with the big wedding thing. And most of my old friends in New Orleans are getting hit right now, and they're like, I'm like, man, that's tough.
I think New Orleans is probably a more expensive market than around here. Maybe Allison will stay in this area and get married. Maybe not.
We'll see. She's dating a boy from New York. So
New York. That's a nice place to get married.
Yeah, I guess so. So
don't worry, Colin. We can ship the flowers there and work out of a hotel room and we'll make it happen. I've done that before, so it can happen.
They've only been dating a few months. Let's
not rush it.
Here,
Let's not rush it.
Oh no, that'll kill me. So I don't even want to think about that.
I know.
Babies leave. Now, how many kids do you have? Or
I have 2 daughters. I have my daughter is 41 and my stepdaughter is 41. So
did you have them when you were 6?
No.
It's impossible.
Yeah. So
one of them runs Alley Cats, and what's the other
my
one?
daughter runs. And Amy, she's back in town. She's been in Texas and she owned her own company. She was like an EMT and she worked on oil sites and stuff like that and provided EMTs, for those projects. So
it's been a bad year for Will out there too.
Yeah,
so that stinks. Did you do anything exciting here? Cutting flowers with you?
No.
I would have a hard time working with 2 of my 3 children. Would not.
Yeah,
enjoy.
I work with my granddaughter Emma. She helps run the store, and so I get to work with her every day. I joke that she's my she's my boss. When I want it off, I have to go ask Emma, hey, Emma, can I have the day off, and stuff. But no, I enjoy working with her. She has a good eye for stuff. She knows what the younger group wants, and she orders a lot for the store, and she does all the inventory. That's not what I'm good at, putting all that stuff in the computer and making sure we have barcodes. I mean, that's a necessary evil of what we do now that I've never really had to deal with.
Dealing with SKUs.
And all that, and so she does a great job handling all that for me. So
the best story I have about SKUs is I worked for Papa John's, regional Papa John's, and a little touch with corporate Papa John's, and we get all our stuff in our stores and everything. The trucks, when they check it out, they're scanning them with the SKU, and there's some kid in Des Moines, Iowa, like a store manager sends an email to corporate, and he's like, well, I have to do inventory 2 days a week you're supposed to do it every night, but you do a real hard count 2 days a week.
Yeah.
And he's like, could I get one of those scanners to do it in the store? And I mean, they just went, that's so smart. They just go, and then they could adjust it for that bag of pepperoni that's not in the box. It probably saved 1 million hours a year. Literally over 4,000 stores instead of going 1, 2, and doop, 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 doop. And then they made little scan things for a half bag of pepperoni and that. And I was just that's my only SKU story I got because John Snatter, who ran Papa John's, who went down in flames and it was kind of crazy. That was his thing. He's like, we have too many SKUs. We have too many items in the store, too much variety, not enough stuff making money.
Right.
What's bigger locally? Mother's Day or Valentine's Day?
I would say probably Valentine's Day, although Mother's Day is a close second. We did a lot. Some men will send their girlfriends flowers, but a lot of them will definitely send their moms stuff. So last Mother's Day was really busy, and so we kind of anticipate that this year. We're going to try to be ready for it. There's a lot of prep that goes into big events with flowers, and so hopefully we'll be ready for that.
What's more last minute, though?
Probably Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. This past year, we learned a lot the first year that we were open. So we had a big refrigerated truck. that we made flowers ahead of time and put them in the refrigerated truck. I also got a big container from Go Box, and we put it out on the parking lot. So, we worked a day ahead, and that worked out really nice. So definitely learned a lot the first year, and being prepared is where it's at.
I can imagine guys just 4 o'clock walking in there like, I need some flowers.
On Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I'm positive.
Yeah,
So.
and there were some, Valentine's Day was on Saturday this year. We still had some walking in on Monday. So,
Well, I have 3 daughters, so there's occasionally times I feel pressure to get flowers for everybody, too.
Yes.
Where you're not just the wife boss.
Right. I've had some men that do that, too. They want their daughters to feel just as special as their wives. So, yeah. And that's sweet.
Yeah, it really just depends on how they act that week, whether they sassed me or backtalked me. Who's doing the delivering for y'all? Do you?
We have a couple of delivery people. My husband is retired, and so he's our main delivery person right now.
You just did in one sentence. You just said my husband's retired, and here's his job.
But here's his job now. And then we have some other people that drive for us. If we get too bogged down with orders, there's some people we can reach out to that can come in and help. We delivered, the Golden Triangle area, so we're in Columbus, Starkville, West Point most every day, making deliveries. So we try to time it, but sometimes we will take a big last-minute funeral order, and sometimes we have to call in more drivers. So.
Not counting funerals, I'm guessing about this, but even more so than the walk-up crowd, I would imagine the delivery crowd is either well planned or last second. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean we love it when people order through our website. Some of these order gatherers, there's like add-on fees and stuff like that. As a new florist, I think you have to put your name out there, and you have to take some orders like that. So we do get orders, through the computer every day.
Like 1-800, whatever.
FTD, Telefloral, all that. But, we like it when they call us directly because it's better for our customers. If we can educate the population to call your local florist. Although sometimes some of these companies pay a lot to be the first in the Google search, and they will make you think that they are a florist, but they're not.
Yeah, and they're charging you. They're just getting in the way. That's an epidemic in real estate, too. There's companies that just people go on there and it says, best realtor in the world. And in reality, they're just paying whoever's giving them the most money in that market, which it often isn't.
And that gets you to the top. And people
it's
don't know.
Not the best realtor in the world and probably not the best florist in the world. And I know in big cities that there's places that are doing that are just sending it, and there's literally a chop house florist, not the one who's got 20 stacks of little smiley face things, whatever. Do you have to? That's really behind the scenes, but I know some of those websites have 5 arrangements. Do you have to if you're signed up on that website, make sure you have a smiley face or whatever?
You do, but there's always that stipulation or substitution. We can substitute if we don't have the exact vase and stuff like that. So if we get an order for something we don't have, then we have to go back to them and say, hey, we do not have this exact flower. We do not have this exact vase. Is it okay to sub? And honestly, it takes someone all day. Emma stays on the computer a lot just going back and forth, because we're not going to give someone something they don't want. So if you order something specific and we don't have it, we have to go back to that company and say we can do designer's choice or we can do this. So it takes a lot of time, to do.
Yeah, because they're not. Some of those companies aren't real people either. It's just a few people in Asia.
Right, you're right. So. And you hear the roosters in the background, and when they call you, and that's the truth.
Well, I have a lot of friends who have overseas assistants, or they call them inside salespeople, or teleworkers, or whatever they call them, virtual assistants. Right. And probably the 2 best ones. Andy Hubbard's got some excellent people at AHI Insurance. Andrew Benton's got a guy I talked to the other day that. Immediately, I got the call and heard the accent. I'm like, oh, so he's not going to understand because I was explaining to him. I'm like, Andrew's my friend, and this, and that's why this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
He got it all, and I was like, that was phenomenal. But as soon as I answered, I'm like, here we go. He's not going to know what that.
Right, he's not going to have a clue.
Because I've had those too, and then some of the businesses that have them, I'm like, y'all aren't busy enough to need a virtual assistant. There's realtors do that too, where they have some of them have salespeople or other people that answer the call. I'm like. Be a lot easier if you just call the real person, call me back in 2 seconds, and just solve this problem. So
and like you always say, you're not too busy.
Yeah. It may, like I said, we're going to be here for an hour. We both have 8 or 9 calls to return.
Right, but that's okay.
Yeah,
that's
I'll tear through them and call them.
I know sometimes people do think that I don't want to bother you because I know you're busy. I see your social media. I know you had all these events going on, but we're never too busy for our clients, right? I mean, we're always there to assist whoever needs it, and I think that's important. to give your customers the best service possible. And even if you're busy, take the phone call, talk to them,
Well, how, not out of flowers, but on food, how small does your catering get? I know nobody wants a small catering order. Like if I like your pecan chicken, I know I can because I'm
I know
a
you
VIP.
can because you're my friend.
Text
You're
you
my
and say I
friend.
want a thing of chicken.
Well, I mean, we try to do like a 50 guest count minimum just because, any less than that, it's just too hard. Like with labor and food cost and everything considered, food cost has gone out the top. I mean, you see that when you go to the grocery store. So
Yeah, is that going to be a challenge moving forward? So when we're recording this, we are probably at the peak of Iran war and gas prices and oil stuff. It could very well get worse. But what happens is a month after that happens, let's say gas prices go crazy, where they're going to go in the poorest countries first. Well, the poorest countries are producing a lot of the produce and chicken and stuff that's coming to the United States and Southeast Asia. 3 months from now, gas may be going down. But the gas that brought the ship there was expensive. Everything in that country was expensive, and all of a sudden, boneless, skinless chicken breasts that were $1.19 a pound a year ago are going to be $6-7 a pound. I mean, so you got a tough. Are you going to have a tough time like quoting food and stuff?
But I mean, I don't feel, and I mean, we did this past year. I don't feel it's fair to my clients to go back. I mean, especially with weddings and big events. I mean, you budget for a certain amount of money. We don't go back to them and say, "Hey, you owe us extra money." I mean, what we quote today is what we live with, and it's a gamble. But I feel like
that's why I say the argument goes the other way in the food service industry. It's like nobody gave you a discount when it went back down,
right?
Because we all got used to paying certain prices for stuff during COVID, and a lot of those prices went back down, and nobody really went like,
we still pay the price. So.
And especially when the big commodities like I said, boneless, skinless chicken, and one of your main ingredients is skyrocketing in price.
Right.
I'm still fascinated at the age of 50 that chicken leg quarters at the grocery store still cost 30 cents, 40 cents a pound sometimes, and I'm like, this makes no sense. I love telling this story, and I don't think I've ever told it in public, but so I was real good friends with this. So it was a Korean family that owned a Chinese restaurant that had seafood in New Orleans. And, back then you would hear, there wasn't internet, so you'd hear a rumor about like, oh, people eat cats and dogs. And so I'm like, y'all are Korean. I was like, can I ask y'all about that? I'm like, have I ever ate cat or dog here? And the guy was very sincere, and he's like, why would I give it to you? I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, they would explain, like, if we eat a dog, we have to watch what it eats. It can't have all the shots. I'm like, so you do eat dog? He's like, yes. And he goes, is it here? And he's like, sometimes. I'm like, are you feeding that to us? And he goes, the best argument ever, and it made me feel so good. He's like, never. I'm like, why? And he's like, chicken's 20 cents a pound. Like the stuff they use is probably the cheapest chicken at a Chinese place. And he's like, why would I give you cat or dog, which I consider a delicacy and I have to be careful with because it's illegal here, when I can give you the cheapest chicken in the world and you're perfectly happy? And I'm like, that's a great argument. And he's like, would you like to try some dog? And I'm like, no, I would not like to try.
No, thank you. I like dog too much.
Yeah.
No.
Man, they had great Mandarin chicken, though, so.
Yeah.
I know. But it wasn't cat, though, so I was very excited about that.
Yes, absolutely.
So if people need to find you, you want to go ahead and give the pitch now to where they can track you down? Because I don't want to keep giving out your personal cell phone number that your empire is so big.
So, I mean, we do have a landline at Florals on Fifth. That number is 662-570-1810. You can order flowers online, or you can call the store to order. I still use my cell phone mostly. I have an assistant, Jimmy Nell Davis, who also has a phone. She'll take calls and she does quotes and estimates and stuff like that. So between the two of us, we pretty much handle the orders. My mom, funny story, my mom is 80. She'll be 86 in June, and she still works with me. And she and I kind of started the catering business. So she still works with me, and she does all the ordering and does, the menu planning and stuff like that. So it's kind of a family operation. And then we have others that have worked with us over the years, and they're like family to us.
Yeah, y'all's
too.
Catering crews can be pretty big, right?
Yes, depending on the event, yes.
So you have like 6 or 10 core people, and then after that, you're kind of begging for help sort of thing?
Yeah, we have our good crew that's been with us. I was talking to a girl the other day, and she's like, someone asked me how long I've been working with you, and then she's like, I said 3 years. She's like, no, it was more like 6 or 7 years, and I said, yeah. I said, time flies when you're having fun, but we do have a lot of fun. I try to treat people with respect. We laugh a lot. We work hard, but you've got to find some, humor in it from time to time, just so it's not just so. I mean, catering is the hardest job you'll ever do.
Yeah, I did food service for 20 years, and my stepfather did catering, and I've been around it. And like the only thing I dislike worse is the sound of the bus breaks outside of a restaurant when
Yes.
they don't call. I witnessed it
Yes.
the other day at Chick-fil-A where a bus full of like 90 kids.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, did they give you a heads up? And you just see this look, and there's one dude, and everybody's on break, and they're about to get me in the weeds.
Yeah.
And but catering in the same respect, just trying to do seeing 200-300 people events where everybody's got to eat in 25 minutes.
Yes.
And then you have they don't realize like I told you 3 times that we needed to open both sides of the buffet, or I need to portion the food and not let people scoop it out. And
I think that's the one thing COVID taught us too. Like we still serve. A lot of times heavy appetizers. You don't want everyone touching it, and then it gets people through the line quickly too. And also, if I'm being honest, it's about portion control too, because people in the South are not good about RSVPing.
Yeah.
And when they do that, I mean, when you show up on location and you're catering based on what they told you, if you scan the crowd and go, oh, okay, instead of 200 people here, there's 300. And we pad it. Like, we never run out of food. But, you might have to cut back on the portions. That's all you can do right at that point. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's where it helps. Like, I'm planning now for my charity crawfish boil. And the biggest thing we learned along the lesson there was putting other food out there to take off. And so, the crawfish may start at 1:30, but from 12 o'clock on, I got hot dogs, hamburgers, and chips and other things, salty food that people will eat to just hopefully take a dent in.
Yes.
Because there's always going to be about 20, 30 people out of 300 that are going to eat 10 pounds of crawfish by themselves.
Right, and I'm probably one of those people that don't eat crawfish.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
So, I'm happily married now, but I had a girlfriend my senior year of high school who she grew up in a Hispanic family, and so this was spring semester, senior year of high school. Crawfish boils everywhere in the world. So I mean, 2 a weekend at least. And then everywhere we went, she wouldn't let me touch it. She'd peel them and do them like that. And I just remember, I'm staying with this chick forever. I was like, what a saint. She's peeling the crawfish for me.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work for a little food. And I eat them pretty quick, but,
Yeah.
I just don't want to cook them. It's a lot of work to cook them.
Yeah.
So I'll get other people to
do it outside. Yeah, and just kind of.
Yeah, so now I'm past that. I have all the rigs and all that stuff, and I just let other people do it. What do they call the Tom Sawyer thing where Tom Sawyer painted the fence wrong until everybody got mad and did it?
Yeah.
I haven't cooked crawfish in my house in 15 years because, I'll do something like messing with it. My neighbors will be like, what are you doing? I'm like, putting eggplant in there? And he's like, you can't do that. Get out of the way. I'm like, all right, I'll get out of the way. And then I step aside and then they cook the crawfish.
Smart man.
Yeah, let them be the experts, So.
Exactly.
All right, so we know where to find you for Florals events off 5th, same number? Or just it's one landing zone is what it is?
Yes. We try to keep it simple, especially when you have multiple, businesses. It's easier just to kind of keep it self-contained. So.
Okay. And are y'all doing, I know next Saturday is the Stella Shouting Contest. Have they come back to you to be on your porch yet?
I mean, they haven't. I don't have the balcony. That's, Maurice and Gloria still live in the apartment upstairs. So that's kind of their space. So I don't know if they're doing that or not.
Okay.
If they want to yell in front of the floral shop, they can. But I
think last year they did it on the stairs on the side of the building across 5th or something. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll follow up with them and see if it makes a cut.
They're welcome. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for coming on the show. It's been Angie Atkins from Events Off 5th, Florals on 5th, and Angie's Catering. Is that everything?
That's it.
And Florida Design.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thanks
for
coming.
It was fun.
Hey, guys. Thanks for listening to the podcast. My name is Colin Krieger, and my day job is real estate. If you're looking to buy or sell, I'd love to talk to you. Or if you just want to sit and talk real estate in a no-pressure situation, I'd love to help you. I work with RE/MAX Partners in Starkville, Columbus, and West Point, Mississippi. I can help you find an agent anywhere in Mississippi or anywhere in the country. Just reach out to our office at 662-327-7705 or find me anywhere when you type in 662-329-SOLD.